Centennial mummies. Well-preserved mummies have been put on display at the San Bernardo Mausoleum in Colombia. 12 mummies were found in the Andes, 60 kilometers southwest of the country's capital, Bogota. Experts have determined that the samples are about 100 years old. Why they are so well preserved remains a mystery, although some experts believe it is because of the local climate and altitude, which may have affected the chemical composition of the land. Arguing what else could have preserved the mummies so well, the locals put forward their theories. In the region where the remains were found, there is a lot of chayote or guatilla, fruits rich in vitamin C, which are often added to salads. According to the residents, it was thanks to the diet that many of these people enjoyed excellent health during their lifetime, and that is why their bodies are so well preserved. The first mummified bodies on display were first discovered in the 1950s, when the local cemetery was moved to another location due to flooding. In addition to well-preserved bodies, some of the samples have preserved clothing. Unfortunately, some of the bodies belong to children. Above each grave were plaques with the names of the deceased. For example, Margarita. She was a very devoted housewife and always treated everyone to corn tortillas and coffee. Local residents visit the museum and study information about mummies with interest. Even their relatives come to look at their ancestors in the mausoleum. However, there are those who disagree with such an initiative. A Roman Catholic bishop, for example, he said that such a demonstration of mummies is a sign of disrespect for the dead. A flower 100 million years old. In Myanmar, scientists have discovered amber in which a flower has been preserved. The plant is about 100 million years old. Its diameter is only 2 millimeters, but at the same time, you can see under a microscope about 50 stamens arranged in a spiral. Scientists suggest that the fragment found was part of a large inflorescence. The authors attributed the find to a previously unknown genus and species of angiosperms of the Cretaceous period, giving it the name Valveloculus pluristaminis. Studying the ancient flower will help shed light on the evolution of plants and maybe learn more about geological processes. The fact is that the tectonic plate on which Myanmar is located separated from the ancient supercontinent of Gondwana, in which it bordered the northwestern tip of present-day Australia. This happened, according to various estimates, from 200 million to 500 million years ago. The flower, preserved in amber, apparently grew in the forest on Gondwana. And if we consider that it is 100 million years old, it means that the split of the continents occurred later than geologists assume. Statues that are over 2,000 years old. In Greece, at the construction site of the town hall in the city of Paeania, near the international airport of Athens, archaeologists have found two ancient statues which are estimated to be approximately 2,300 years old. The found complex of white marble consists of two female figures. The statues have survived only in fragments, but it is obvious that the women had different social status. A sick woman sits on the right side, her legs resting on a low stand. She is dressed in a tunic and robe. To the left is a maid or a doctor, supporting her head with her left hand. According to scientists, such gravestone reliefs are characteristic of the 4th century. The found statues were transferred to the archaeological museum. Archaeologists continue to search for relics at the construction site. The largest sword on Earth. One of the most famous and at the same time the largest combat two-handed swords is kept in the Museum of the Netherlands, the city of Leeuwarden, Frisia. This amazing sword is 2,150 millimeters long and weighs 6,600 grams. It has the stamp INRI, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. It was forged in the middle of the 15th century in Germany. The handle of this sword is made of oak and trimmed with goat skin. Scientists speculate that these weapons were the property of Pierre Daunia, Big Pierre, a French pirate and a fierce independence fighter. Legend has it that he could cut off several of their heads in an instant. It is believed that Pierre got the sword as a trophy from the Langsknechts, who revered him as a banner, and only he could use it due to his physical abilities. His height was equal to the length of the sword, 2 meters 15 centimeters. In 1515, his possessions were destroyed and burned by the military from the so-called Black Gang. His wife was brutally deprived of her life, and this hatred of murderers prompted him to contribute his share in the Kaldern War. Two-handed swords occupy a significant and important place among other types of cold-bladed weapons. This magnificent weapon is the pride of any modern museum, and we can only guess how much effort Big Pierre had to use to swing this sword. Orbs from Klerksdorp. These mysterious artifacts are considered by some researchers as the final, irrevocable evidence of the existence of advanced civilizations on Earth billions of years ago. However, official science behaves in this case as usual. Boring academics argue that mysterious realms are a product of Mother Nature's activities. Mysterious artifacts have been discovered in Africa. Their age is estimated at about 2.8 billion years. Modern science believes that there were no people on Earth at that time. Mysterious objects are elliptical with jagged protrusions in the center. Some especially zealous lovers of anomalies claim that the mysterious spheres are the fruit of the labor of some intelligent creature. Assumptions that the Earth was inhabited by various forms of life in the distant past are expressed quite often. Proponents of such ideas have been endlessly arguing with proponents of traditional ideas about earthly history for many years. Tests carried out on the spheres have yielded conflicting results. At the moment, this is what is known. According to legend, a man named John Hunt acquired one of the orbs and took it to the California Space Institute at the University of California. He wanted to know as much as possible about this interesting artifact, and it turned out that the sphere has a perfect shape and perfect balance. Hunt stated that the only way to create something exactly balanced is to use zero gravity. Andres Bishkov, a former professor at Potchefstroom University, claims that these interesting objects are nothing more than limonite nodules. These are such mixtures of iron hydrates. Antique refrigerator. I will start the story about archaeological finds from Bulgaria, where in the camp of Roman legionaries in Nova, archaeologists found a unique container made of ceramic plates, which was most likely used as a refrigerator. This camp was built in the 1st century AD. The territory of the ancient camp has been studied by Bulgarian and Polish archaeologists for decades. This year, under the guidance of Professor Peter Dyczek, a refrigerator was discovered, which was located in military barracks. In it, the legionnaires kept the remnants of food. Similar refrigerators have been found before, but they are still considered rare. In addition to the refrigerator, archaeologists have found dozens of coins. Mayan giant mask. In Mexico, during excavations on the Yucatan Peninsula, archaeologists have discovered a giant image of an unknown Mayan deity. Archaeologists have only just announced the discovery now, although the artifact itself was discovered back in 2017. A giant mask the size of a man was found at the archaeological site of Yucania, near the modern city of Motul. Since then, the researchers at the National Institute of Anthropology and History of Mexico have painstakingly worked to restore it. The discovery was not reported for the safety of the artifact itself. There was a risk that it could be reached and destroyed by treasure hunters. The artifact itself puzzled researchers. It is dated to the late pre-classical Maya period, about 300 BC, 250 AD. The mask is an image of the face of an unknown deity or some very important person, a representative of the elite of society of that period of time. Interestingly, after the restoration, archaeologists again buried the mask. National Institute of Anthropology and History of Mexico explained this by the fact that this monument and archaeological site do not yet have legal protection. A new species of human. a 146,000-year-old or possibly older skull dubbed Dragon Man, found at a construction site in the Habin region of northeast China, and it may represent a new species of human. The scientists who published their findings in 3 separate papers in The Innovation in June 2021 said their analysis of the skull suggests it represents a new lineage of Homo sapiens called Homo longi. The term Dragon Man refers to the Dragon River in the area where the skull was found in 1933. The worker who discovered it hid it until 2018 when he told his family about the skull, and they donated it to the Hebei Geo University Museum. The well-preserved fossil from the Middle Pleistocene is massive, with a large skull fallen within the range of modern humans, combined with a mosaic of primitive and derived features, the scientists said. According to them, unlike other Homo species, the skull has a broad, low face, nearly square eye sockets, flat cheekbones, and a shallow palate with large molars. Paleoanthropologist Shihan Ni believes that Homo longi may be even more closely related to humans than Neanderthals. The largest stones displaced by man. All over the world, we find massive cut stones, which weigh at times more than 1,000 tons. But how exactly did our distant ancestors move these stones to the right place? Did they only use the strength of their hands? Or perhaps, as some researchers suggest, our ancestors used some now lost technology? Common sense dictates that all of these stones were too heavy to move without the aid of some kind of assistive device. But it is believed that in those days, people did not have the necessary means to transport huge blocks over long distances. Many similar objects have been found in Egypt. Let's talk about them and at the same time think about how exactly they were delivered to their current location. This is perhaps one of the most interesting of its kind. Nowadays, only fragments of the foundation remain of the once majestic structure. Experts estimate that the Ramesseum once weighed about 1,000 tons, but even more incredible, the massive boulder appears to have been moved to where it is now from a different location, which is located 200 kilometers from the Ramesseum. This object is considered one of the largest stones ever displaced by man. In the image you can see the site of one of the colossi of Memnon. It is the last surviving structure of the burial temple of Amenhotep III, known as Kamel Katan. The picture was taken around 1900. The colossi of Memnon are 2 supermassive statues, each carved from a single piece of stone. The statues are oriented toward the winter solstice point. It is believed that the total weight of the statues once reached 1,200 tons. Incredibly, these statues were somehow magically transported over 600 kilometers over land without using the waters of the Nile River. Another incredibly interesting ancient site is in Lebanon. In the ancient architectural ensemble of Baalbek in the Temple of Jupiter, there is the so-called trilithon. It is a group of 3 stones about 19 meters long, 4 meters high, and almost 4 meters wide. It is believed that these stones were carved from limestone. It is believed that before being transported to their location, they weighed from 1,000 to 1,200 tons, and they somehow managed to be transported over a distance of 1 kilometer. The stones were later processed to fit exactly the temple wall. The western stone is a massive block that forms the lower level of the western wall in Jerusalem. And this is another supermassive boulder laid in ancient times. It is considered one of the largest building blocks on the planet's surface. Its estimated weight is 570 tons. In Ethiopia, we find even more evidence of ancient megalithic madness. The large stelae, the stelae of King Ezana and the Axum obelisk, weigh 520, 170, and 160 tons respectively. The steles were once transferred from a quarry located about 4 kilometers from the location. How it was done remains a mystery. Straight-toothed elephant tusk. 2 years ago in Germany, between Hannover and Leipzig, archaeologists discovered the bone of a straight-toothed elephant. It was a huge cervical vertebrae. Later, archaeologists discovered other bones of this animal. Finding a complete skeleton of a 4-meter-high elephant is a rarity. After numerous studies, scientists have established that this elephant was eaten by ancient people. However, he died of natural causes. After all, he was about 50 years old, and they found him near an ancient lake where elephants went to drink. And already this year in September in Israel, biologist Lee Perigel found a well-preserved tusk of a straight-toothed elephant. Its length is 2.5 meters and 20 centimeters in diameter. It has not been possible to completely get the tusk, so it is still impossible to accurately determine the type of elephant. But as you know, archaeologists like to rush and draw their conclusions ahead of time. According to them, it is a straight-tusked forest elephant, Paleolexodon antiquus. It was often hunted by our ancestors, and in certain regions, elephants of this species were the main source of meat. Growth exceeded 4 meters and weight reached up to 1.5 tons. As you already understood, the meat of such an elephant could feed a very large family. We no longer need to hunt elephants and cave bears. You can only watch it on your screens. And to learn about the release of a new video, you only need to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. Leave your kind comments under the video, it helps in promoting the channel. Thanks for your views, bye everyone!